Alright, with year 10 of Rainbow Six Siege being the game's 10th anniversary, pretty safe to say that this is one of the most anticipated years ever. And with us getting very close to the reveal of the roadmap, I'm going to share with you 10 things I want to see in this year, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree as well. Now, disclaimer, I'm not just going to say, I want new operators and I want new maps. That's a boring answer. Everyone wants that stuff. I want to talk about some other aspects which have been neglected over the years that I'd love to see more of in year 10. We're getting so close to that 200k mark, I can smell it, so if you haven't already, hit that sub button. It's free. If you don't like me, you can always unsub in the future. I get it. And if you're already subbed, nice. Thank you. You're a legend. Right, let's jump straight into this list.
Laying down some smoke.
Right, so the first one is going to be a brand new secondary gadget, both for attack and for defense. Off the top of my head, the newest gadgets for both sides is the Impact EMP nades and the Observation Blocker. Might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure those are the latest additions for each side, and they've been in the game for a decent while now. So I think we are beyond overdue a brand new secondary gadget. We talk about this a lot in the Mailbox series. Make sure you join that series if you haven't already. Really fun series we run on this channel. But a fun one which has popped up a lot for a new attacking secondary gadget is an Incendiary Grenade, which would simply just be a small fire area of effect, basically a Molotov cocktail, and it can kind of just be a pocket version of Kappa Tau. Similar to how the Impact EMP nades is a smaller version of Thatcher, it'd be a smaller version of Kappa Tau without rendering him useless. It could also be used in the same way that grenades are used for area denial, but of course it doesn't have the explosive effect which grenades have, where grenades may be a bit too strong for currently. And for defense, I've actually not got one off the top of my head, so if you have an idea for a brand new secondary gadget for the defenders, drop it in the comments right now. I want to see what everyone's idea is for this one. But yeah, it's been a hot minute since we got a new secondary gadget added to the game. Operation New Blood would have been a perfect opportunity to add some, I think, because the recruits mainly focus around secondary gadgets, so adding a new one to either side would have probably made that season more interesting than it was. But yeah, I'd love to see some new additions in year 10.
Details.
Right, another thing I'd like to see in year 10 is a rework to the alpha pack system. I think alpha packs are currently the most boring pool of cosmetics in modern day gaming. When a weapon skin which released almost a decade ago is your most desirable thing in alpha packs, then I think you're doing something wrong. They hardly ever put new skins in there, they hardly ever update them, and it's kind of just full of lame duplicates rather than anything interesting. Remove duplicates completely. Get rid of Bravo packs and just make alpha packs basically what Bravo packs are. No duplicates, remove all that filler garbage from them as well, and actually put effort into making cool, interesting new skins each season rather than just having a bunch of seasonal recolors dumped in them, as well as Black Eyes, who anyone who's played this game now doesn't really care about anymore because it's been done to death. Alpha packs are so incredibly boring. The last time I even paid for one with Renown was probably 3 years ago at this point. I care about absolutely no skins in there, and it's one of those things that started off very interesting but has just lost any value over time, and there's just no cool skins in there anymore. It's really sad because there's potential for alpha packs to be amazing. Even though I'm tired of Black Eyes, add a color variant of it. Maybe it looks purple instead of blue, and there you go. You've just made alpha packs interesting again because there's a new skin for people to grind for. But yeah, they're absolutely boring, and Ubisoft have been neglecting them for way too long.
A little memento.
Right, another thing I like to see in year 10 is new scope casings. Now, I think in their current state, scopes are fine. I'm glad we have the one-time scope. I think acog being 2.5 is fine. I don't want any of that change specifically, but we would have new variations of the existing scopes. So we would have holographic E, or, you know, red dot D, a bunch of new versions of already existing scopes. Would just be really cool because this would then be applied to every single weapon in the game. So already existing weapons, which have been in the game for almost a decade, will have a somewhat new feature to them. I mean, I remember how cool it was when operators such as Mozzie released and he brought a new holographic to the game. And now this was a time when different scopes were limited to operators. So this holographic which Mozzie has was only available on Mozzie's P10 Roni, if I'm not wrong. And then they done an update. I can't remember what season it was, but basically they just allowed every operator to use every scope, because some of them were only available on Russian operators. For example, they had their own exclusive set of holographics, red dots, reflex, and acog, and now anyone can use them. So I think it'd be pretty cool if we continue that, because it was a really cool thing when they got opened up more and when new ones would come to the game. So just continue to add more of them. I'm not saying that a new one has to come every season, but at least one new holographic or red dot or reflex in year 10 I think would be pretty cool. It would make the weapons look a little bit bit different, and it would just be a fun addition, which I think a lot of people would really enjoy.
Did anyone remember to bring the ammo?
Now this next one is definitely something we need, and that's an operator mastery system. I'm talking a full progression list for every single operator in the game. At the end, you get an exclusive headgear, uniform, weapon skin, player card portrait, player card background, and as well as this, one of the new badges, which is one of the newer features in the game, but that would look amazing for every single operator. It would give you a reason to grind out every single operator even more, and it's just a really fun reward for playing these operators and playing the game, and you can show off to other people that you like playing Ace a lot and you've completed his mastery. I mean, for all it's worth, Rainbow Six Extraction, one of the things that kept me playing to 100% complete that game was the fact that there was an operator prestige and mastery system, and I actually found grinding the operators and improving their level was one of the most enjoyable things about that game. So implementing that in Siege would definitely be a positive, and I think everyone would agree with me when we say we want this.
I'm dry!
Right, this next one is one of the things that you all said in the comment section, and I have to agree with you, and that would be weapon inspection. Now, although I said that I feel like Siege is very lacking in the skin department, there are a lot of really good skins in the game for weapons, but a lot of them, you actually can't see the full skin, so you don't get the full effect for the weapon skin that you've paid for. Well, weapon inspection would be a really fun way for you to see more of the weapon skins you've bought, and especially if they are to create more better weapon skins, which I really hope that they do, it would help people buy them more. I mean, this is pretty much a win for Ubisoft and a win for the consumer. If we can see our paid skins more, we're more likely to buy them, and if we're more likely to buy them, you're going to get more money. So I think weapon inspection is one of the most beneficial things in the game for everyone. So as little impact it may sound as a feature, it would actually be really cool, and I would love to see all my weapon skins in a new way. Plus, it'd be kind of cool to meme on people in a kill cam.
Jaeger has the worst luck.
Another thing I like to see them do in year 10 is make usage of the Underbarrel option in the weapon loadout. So although this has its own category, there's only really ever been one Underbarrel option, and that's been the laser sight. With laser sight actually having a visual change very recently, last season if I'm not wrong, it does go to show that they are still, you know, giving attention to that section, but we only have a laser sight. So I think it could be potentially quite cool if we get a new Underbarrel option for every weapon. Of course, it would have a stat which would improve your operator, with there being a downside as well. The downside of laser sight currently is that people can see your laser sight, which therefore gives away your position. We could even do something as simple as a different colored Underbarrel laser sight, but instead of it granting you faster ADS time like the current red version does, it would have a different benefit. I feel like when you look at the loadout section of the game, this is the part which has never really been expanded upon anymore, so I think that could be something quite cool to look into in year 10.
Now I see what you're up to.
Something else I want to see make a return are map buffs. These were minor changes to already existing maps which didn't warrant an entire rework or an entire season dedicated to them, but they would be smaller map changes which would overall improve the existing map that would come in a season alongside everything else, but wasn't classed as the primary content, and could even launch alongside a new map or another dedicated remaster to a different map. Like Cafe Dostoyevsky, for example, is a map which I think is almost good, but because of its really bad spawn design and a very limiting top floor, I personally don't like it as much as I used to. So I think maybe cleaning up the spawns, adding more cover, and not making it a spawn peak heavy, because listen, I'm not one to complain about spawn peaks, but Cafe is just bad design. There's a big difference there. But cleaning up the spawns, as well as maybe making the exterior balcony extend to outside of piano and putting an upstairs breachable wall there, that would be enough to fix Cafe in my opinion. So it doesn't need an entire season dedicated rework, but just a little buff like that to change the map and improve it would be something very nice. And just continuously doing that to a lot of maps, because then I feel like you're going to make every map eventually the best version of what it can be without necessarily having to change the entire map itself. They used to do this quite a lot in the past, so I really hope they bring this back in year 10 because I actually really like it, and sometimes it just makes more sense than doing a full rework.
One shot, one kill.
Right, maybe this is just me, but something I think we really need is an individual volume slider for each person on your team. Maybe this is more of a PC issue, but when someone talks in game chat, someone can be really quiet and someone can be really loud, and we only have one volume slider in the settings menu to handle both of them. But I think it would be really nice if we could could turn our teammates' volume up or down, depending if they need to be louder or quieter, without having it to be a universal feature. This is something which a lot of stuff has as a standard now when you're in a call with someone, so I think it'd be quite good to update Siege's one to have that option, because it's just a nice quality of life change, adds a bit of frustration when someone's too loud, someone's too quiet, and you can't manage between them. Sometimes I'll have a teammate who's giving genuinely good calls, but he's that loud, it actually starts to put me off and annoy me. I know it's nothing insanely massive, but it would be a really good quality of life change, which I would love.
No comment.
Right, this one might be very controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I would actually like to see the removal of map bans from ranked. Now, I think the map bans has heavily stagnated the pool. I remember playing before map bans, and when you got a map that you weren't very good at or you didn't necessarily like, too bad. You were forced to play it, forced to learn it, and eventually you would actually become very good at the map. And I think if we done this treatment again, overall it would make the average player better at every single map, because they would be forced to learn it or lose every time. Whereas having map bans just gives you the comfort to always ban a map you haven't even given a chance to learn yet, and I think it's made the average player not as good as they used to be. Rainbow Six Siege is a game all about adapting to different changes and pushing you outside of your comfort zone, so I think giving players more option to push themselves into their comfort zone, especially in a ranked mode, doesn't really work that much, and you should really be pushed out of it. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I definitely think it should be that way.
My favorite part is when they go splat.
And this next change is going to be one for all my fellow lore heads, and that would be an in-game lore tab. Whether you like the lore or not, the game is built around it, and there's a lot of background effort which is put into it, and for the most part, a lot of players don't get to see that, and I'm one of the main outlets which actually presents it, so I think actually having a proper official in-game tab to follow the lore would be beneficial for every single player, and it would help get people more entwined with it. I mean, we already have stuff like the in-game bios, just expand on that even more, tell us a story, have a place for us to read the webcomics and see the cinematics in a chronological order, and help explain the lore to the players. As much as I love being the lore guy, we need an official outlet as well, so I would love to see an in-game tab dedicated to the lore. And so everyone, those are 10 additions I would love to see in year 10 of Rainbow Six Siege. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What would you like to see in year 10? Really interested to hear your thoughts. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're new. Catch you later. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.